They have this in an unscented, but I was like, ooh, cedar, that smells. I can't smell it with that on it, can I? Let's give it. Oh yeah. Ooh. It's time to take out your favorite sweaters because fall is here. And today on Simply, I'm going to be sharing some easy tips on how to maintain and care for your favorite sweaters. Whenever I think about sweaters, I think about a couple different issues that I tend to run into, and one of them is pilling. Now, I remember seeing this as a kid. I think my mom had one, but I decided I'm an adult, I should probably have one too. This is a fabric shaver, and it is great for wool coats and sweaters to remove any pills and extra fabric that might be coming off of your sweater. This is something that always bothers me about my sweaters because it starts to make them look kind of like dingy and old, but if you can remove the pills, they look fresh and ready to wear. One thing that kind of surprised me about this product is not only is it great for pilling, but it's also amazing at removing lint. And with my 2 fur babies, that is a necessity in this household. The next thing is wrinkles. These, they're inevitable, right? But there are a couple things that you can do to prevent them, and it starts with the storage. So we're gonna talk a little bit more about sweater storage here in a few minutes, but one thing I can say is to fold your sweaters as much as you can. Try not to hang them because you will start to get creases in areas in the shoulders. If you have a lot of things in your closet and everything's kind of tight together, sometimes you can get creases just from everything being like smushed, and we don't want that. Now, really chunky sweaters tend to not wrinkle so much, but if you have thinner knits, you can try something like a crease release product. This is from the laundress. It's super simple to use. Give it a few sprays, kind of shake it out, let it air dry, and you will be wrinkle free. I tend to always have snags on my sweaters. Everything from my bracelets doing it to my nails or just the dogs coming up and trying to give me a hug, I tend to get snags. So I finally pulled the trigger on a little snag repair kit. This is super simple. If you have a crochet hook, that can also be the perfect solution, but you actually just have to loop your snag right back through the sweater to hide it, because if you let the snag go, over time, it's going to pull even more and you're going to have a cinched sweater. To repair your snag, you're going to insert the pointed end into the center of the snag. Continue to push or pull this tool through the fabric and stretch the fabric gently to readjust your fibers. When storing your sweaters, you want to make sure that you can fold them as much as you can. If you don't have the space, try to come up with some other solutions. For example, I love an under the bed storage solution, and these bags are perfect because we have a really low to the ground bed, and this is actually a 3-inch height, so they fit perfectly. I can store some of my bulkier sweaters under there that I can't fit in my closet. Now, it has taken me a couple years to really nail down my folding techniques with my sweaters, but I finally have figured out what works best for me. Not only does this save space in my closet and in the drawers, but it also prevents wrinkles and keeps them looking fresh when I go to wear them. Depending on the neckline of your sweater, you might have to fold it differently, but I recommend always folding in the arms first, because once you get those out of the way, it's a lot easier to create the perfect square when you're folding, which is going to make storing them much easier, and you'll be able to store more in one area. For turtlenecks, I like to always fold in the neck portion first, then the arms, and work from the bottom up. This allows me to create another square that I can store with all of my other sweaters. Chunky knits are always kind of tricky, and I like to store them separate from my day-to-day sweaters just because they are so large, and those are the ones that I typically store underneath the bed. And the best way to fold these is to get those arms in first, and again, work your way up from the bottom, folding until you get a square. These guys are big and chunky, but if you can just do that basic 3-step process, it should be super easy for storage. Another thing I love for storage, especially if you're going to be doing anything seasonally in like an attic or a basement, a cedar closet, which I wish we had. Charcoal bags are wonderful. They're a more natural way to absorb moisture and absorb odor and keep your clothing smelling fresh. This is great for your winter storage, like your coats, scarves, hats, all that sort of stuff. If you don't have a cedar closet, I recommend the bamboo bags. You can also get some dry drip bags. This is another one of my favorite products. It's actually really neat because you see it working. These are dry and dry. They're dry and dry bags. Hang these in a closet, in a muggy basement, and they absorb moisture. So by a month or so, you will have a bag full of water. And not only does this help to keep your clothes fresh, but it takes away some of those musty smells from your clothes. I have always been a little bit nervous about cleaning sweaters, especially some of my nicer cashmere ones, but I have a few products that you guys can try and some methods to make sure that you are cleaning your sweaters properly so that they last a long time. So we're going to be trying the Wool and Cashmere Cleaner Shampoo from the laundress. They have this in an unscented, but I was like, ooh, cedar, that smells, I can't smell it with that on it, can I? Let's give it, oh yeah, oh. That's nice. Okay. Now you can do this in your washing machine, but if you are going to be using your washing machine, use it on a woolen cycle or a delicate. Make sure the water is cool and turn your sweater inside out. Another option for your sweaters is a no rinse solution. I'm really excited to try this. I've never used one before. This is super easy to use and I love that it's scentless too, because if you have sensitive skin and you don't want to have any fragrance, this is your go-to. They do make them in some other scents, but we went with scentless for today. So all you're gonna do is take 1 teaspoon of your soak solution in a gallon of cold water. You're going to let your sweaters or whatever other delicates you're washing soak for about 15 minutes. Then you're going to gently squeeze to get the extra water out and hang them or lay them to dry. You don't have to rinse, which I love. We removed a step, which makes it that much more simple. All right, stains. Nobody likes getting stains on their sweaters. And I think a lot of us tend to use warm water because we think, oh, it'll break it up and get the stain out quicker, but you actually want to use cold water. For most stains on most fabrics, including cashmere and wool, cold water on a clean towel and just gently blot. If you ever get some type of blob type condiment on your sweater, whether it's ketchup or a thing of peanut butter, make sure that you don't smear. Try to use something flat like a butter knife and scrape off the condiment and then use cold water to then blot the remaining stain out. One last little tip for you guys is to get a refresh spray. This is the Laundress Wool and Cashmere Spray. I also got this in the cedar. This freshens and deodorizes. This is great for long-term storage or things that might need to just be dry cleaned. You can do this on your curtains, on linens, in rooms. This stuff is amazing. It works on a lot of different things and it's great for just a quick freshen up. I hope this video gave you guys some fresh tips for keeping your sweaters in tip-top shape this season. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to Real Simple's YouTube channel and turn on the notifications so you never miss an episode of Simply.